All right, so we're recording. So let's get started. All right. So if you see me toggling back and forth, I have two screens right now. So just know that the presentation is on one screen and I'm seeing you all on another screen. So again, welcome to Webinar Wednesday. Today we'll be talking about how to apply to K12 and how to ace your digital interview. Now, again, I spoke earlier, but I have two speakers with me today, two recruiters that will be helping me out, and I will be introducing them shortly. And before we get started, just house rules and agenda for today. So make sure, if you haven't already, make sure you mute your microphones. Again, there will be a question and answer session at the end. So once we finish the presentation, we'll open up the floor. If anybody wants to type a question in the chat box, they can. If you want to give your question over the microphone, we'll open up the microphone so you can talk to us. But we'll save your questions for the end, and hopefully our information will be able to answer your question before we get to that point. So you can write your questions in the chat box, and I'll try to also read them out loud so then people can see what questions people have. Now, as far as our agenda, I'll introduce our speakers, then I'll give a brief intro about K12, and then we'll talk about how to apply on our website and give you HireVue tips and tricks, because that's one of the platforms that we use for our interviews. And then after that, we will do a question and answer portion. So our speakers, and I'll make sure I put this slide. Okay, so we went through house rules, the agenda. Our speakers today, and you see them, I think they're on the screen. I have Susan Lowmiller. She's a recruiter with K12. She's been with us since 2017. And we have Mikhail Jackson, who's also another recruiter. She's been with us for 7 years with K12. So they will be coming on later, and they'll be talking to us as far as the applying to K12 and giving HireVue tips and tricks. And also, Susan was also a virtual teacher before becoming a recruiter. So she'll be able to give you some insight on how to maneuver being a virtual teacher, if that is an interest that you have. All right, so I will talk a little bit about who K12 is. Our mission statement, as you see, we help students reach their full potential through inspired teaching and personalized learning. And our values are passion, accountability, courage, and trustworthiness. And those are things that we try to embody and show to our families that are with us. Now, K12, we have been around since 2000, so 20 years, and we're one of the nation's leading providers of online education. And as far as the different schools that we have online, free online public schools, we have tuition-based private schools, hybrid schools, and we also have curriculum that can be purchased. Our schools, we're in 32 states as of right now, and we basically believe that K12 education is for anyone. Now, before we talk about our applying to K12, I just wanted to share just what are the things that we look for in a candidate. That's if you're looking for a teacher or if you're applying to a corporate position that we may have. We basically look for someone who's a problem solver, someone who's flexible and a team player. I know for myself, I've been with K12 also since 2017. So I've done a lot of different roles and a lot of different tasks. So definitely being flexible is, I would say, one of the biggest things that we look for in a K12 candidate. Also, we look for just customer service oriented, detail and data driven. And since most of our positions are virtual, also being used to just having any virtual experience is also helpful as well, but it's not required. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. Now, how do you apply? First, I will give you our website, which is www.k12.com/careers, and I will also go on to our website shortly to just walk you through what it looks like. So if you see, and actually my image is blocking some of the words, I'm sorry. So in the right hand corner, you'll see, where do you see yourself at K12? This is actually on our website. It'll break down school staff, corporate. So depending on which direction you want to go, you can click on that. You'll basically click on that side, let's say school staff, you'll click on that and you'll go through the jobs that we have posted, and then you'll apply for anything that may fit you. So you may have multiple interests or multiple jobs that you see that you're interested in. I would apply to each of them. Don't feel limited that I'm just going to apply to one. If you see multiple, be sure to apply to multiple jobs and to get your name out there. So let me go to our website. Let me go back, which is our K12 careers page, and I just gave a little screenshot of what it looks like. So let me jump out of here real fast. 1 second. Trying to get out of it. Bear with me. Share. All right, so close that. All right. So bring up our webpage. All right, can everyone see my screen? You should see our K12 careers page. Can everyone see? I see nodding. Thank you. All right. So this is our K12 careers page. Again, you're going to k12.com/careers. If you scroll, it just has we have a message about our facility. If you scroll farther down, you see a talent and event spotlight. This is where we'll try to put our featured jobs. We'll also put our events like today's event that you're in right now. We also have our K12 values, where we talk about PACT. And this is the photo that I showed earlier of where do you see yourself at K12. So you can click on school staff or corporate. And once you click on that, that will bring up our page where we list our jobs. Now, as far as, I know everyone's coming from different states. If you want to search by a different state, you can do that. So company location, is where you would do that. So let's say I saw some people in Texas. So I'll click on Texas, and that will bring up different jobs that you see are available. It'll tell you if it's full-time. It'll also say if it's remote, and it gives a short blurb about the position. So let's click on one of those. And it gives you your job details. It says, who are we? It gives you your qualifications, certifications, licenses, and whatnot there. So to apply, you click on the apply now and register. So if you haven't created an account, and I'll also kind of walk through that too, you can put in all of your information, and it'll give you, we basically create an account so you can go back and check through the different jobs that you've applied to. And once you do that, actually, so I'll put it. Trying to show. So it'll ask you to create a password that has one number, one symbol, preferably, and one number. And your phone number. Oh, you did that incorrectly. So then once you do that, it'll ask you to sign in. So I'll sign in. And pardon my bangles. That's why you hear all this noise in the background. Okay. So once that comes up, then you will upload your resume. There's a space here where you click that button, upload resume. Let's see that. You will make sure that you're putting your phone number, your name, your email address. We definitely need contact information. This is what helps our recruiters when they are looking for candidates. They may want to reach out and call you or send you an email. So just make sure you give a relevant email address, phone number, and also include your first and last name. You can also include your work experience here, education, your skill sets, license and certifications. If you are looking for a teaching position, it's imperative that you do include your licenses and certifications so we can see that you're certified, because that is one of the requirements for a teacher. You must have your state certification because you must teach in the state that you are in, and any other licenses that you have. So you would upload these things onto your profile, and then it'll also ask you some questions like, how did you hear about this opportunity? And you can choose the drop down. When would you be available to work? And other questions that are also listed with an asterisk. So these are the things you would complete, and a little lengthy, but once you do this, then you'll be able to quickly go onto our site and look at different jobs that we have and apply. So I will jump out of here and go back into our PowerPoint. Okay. So again, as I stated earlier, you create your profile on our website, put your name, contact information, include your resume, most updated resume, and your teacher certification. Now, again, with the positions that we have about 130 job titles, and basically we look for candidates that have just graduated, or you could have 1 to 2 years of experience, and I believe we're referring to as far as your teaching experience. And these are just a list of some of the positions that we have. So teaching is one of our biggest positions that we like to fill, but we do also have different titles that we do look for when you're applying. So now, after we've gone through our K12 careers page, you've uploaded your resume, you've put in your information, you've applied to the job, and now you've been asked for an interview. So now I'm going to turn it over to Mikhail, and she can give you some tips on how to ace your digital interview. Now, HireVue is the digital platform that we use. So Mikhail, I'm going to go on mute, and you can give your tips that you have.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Good. Okay. So HireVue, of course, is one of the platforms that we use to do our initial interview. So you apply, and if you qualify and meet all of the minimum requirements, we send you a HireVue request. Now, this is a video request, very similar to what we're on now, Zoom, Skype. And I always tell my candidates, it's sort of like speaking to yourself on an interview. So you want to make sure that you are doing on your laptop, preferably, versus your cell phone. And you want to get comfortable in your space. You're going to be asked anywhere between 5 to possibly 10 questions. And the biggest tips I give to people is to just try not to be nervous. I know it's easy to be nervous during an interview, but just remember, this is your best foot forward. This is your comfortable space. This is your home. So just get into your most comfortable space. Try not to be nervous. We all are on camera. Even now, I hate being on camera, but I just try to be nervous. I try to not be nervous and just really give my best foot forward. So whenever you do go on HireVue and you are asked the questions, you're going to be asked a practice question first. Always take that practice question. It allows you to see how you look on camera. It allows you to get comfortable with it. And also, if you're not comfortable yet with that, there's also videos on YouTube that'll show you how the interview works. So between the YouTube videos and just the practice question, make sure you do those first. So now that you're comfortable, just find a comfortable space in your home, whether it's your living room, your kitchen. Make sure that your chair is comfortable, because the one thing you want to do is be able to talk and not shake around too much, not have anyone come into your background, not have any interruptions. So find a quiet space, find a quiet time, and then you can go for your interview. Last but not least, don't overthink it. I always tell my candidates, who can tell you about yourself better than you? So just answer your questions to the best of your ability. Talk about you. Talk about the things that you've achieved. Talk about the things that you would like to achieve. Just continue to just, as I always say, brag about yourself, because we do want to see your best foot forward. And again, I always say, watch the YouTube videos and watch the practice question, because it does definitely help with it. Do you get questions ahead of time? You do not. You do get a second chance to answer the question. So let's say you answer your question and you don't like it. You do get a second opportunity to do that. but you do not get more than 2. So make sure that if you do, have interruptions in your first question, that your second question is fine, because that's going to be the one that's going to be submitted to us. And it is no live interaction. It is you versus you. Behavioral, not necessarily. It really just depends on the position. So of course your student services questions are going to be a lot different than your teaching questions, which is going to be different than your enrollment questions. So it just really depends. So your first interview, as Courtney stated, is not live interaction. So again, best foot forward, because that is the interview that the manager is actually going to review to see if they want to move forward. Don't forget, this is a virtual company, so we chose to go over to this platform to kind of see how you would work in the virtual world. So that's why this is our first step into the company, or I'm sorry, into the interview process. I think that's any more questions. That may be it. I can hand it back over to Drea.
Thanks, Mikhail. And I also, while you were talking, I just changed the slide to, this is once you get your on-demand interview, which is where you have a preset list of questions, that she said, that you answer and record for them to review, and they will forward that to their hiring manager. But this is an email that you receive. So we took just a snapshot so you see what you would receive once you get the interview. It lets you know on how to get started. It'll show you how to test your microphone, your camera, and that's where you see the picture right now. And let me go to the next slide. And then it will also tell you on how it's reviewed. But this is just one of the ways that we will interview through an on-demand, which is a recorded interview. There's a live interview where you can be face-to-face, kind of like how we are now, video interaction, and then there's a on-site where you would come in if that were what they chose to do. So now, with those tips from HireVue, I will now have Susan Lohmiller talk to you about the virtual teaching part. So those that are interested in teaching, what it may look like as a virtual teacher, I have just a slide here that she can use. But Susan, you can go ahead and tell us more about your experience as a K12 teacher.
All right, thanks, Drea. So I made this slide and gave it to Drea, and it compares my 2 days side by side as far as working in a brick and mortar school here in Texas. I've taught in Arizona, San Francisco area for the Diocese of San Francisco, and then here for Leander School District in Texas. So it's an awesome school district, but as you see here on the left, your day, of course, generally starts before 8 a.m., but you're really non-stop. There's no time for planning in the school day. Like I have here, running for copies at 8 a.m. and then class till lunch, and at lunch you have lunch duty most likely, or you're running a club at lunch but you do not have your own lunch. Or if you're lucky, you have detention duty at lunch. That's always the best. And then after lunch, you would have a few more classes and a prep period used by a meeting, and another prep period used either as a substitute teacher or as another meeting. And so at some point, you have to create an amazing day for the kids tomorrow. So something I appreciated working for K12 was that I taught far fewer times in the day. Granted, my class size was larger, which is not true for all K12 schools, but my experience teaching for a Texas Online Preparatory School is that my class was much larger, but I had it once a day and then little small groups in the afternoon, but the rest of the day was used conversing with students and planning. And of course, we still had IEPs and 504s. But I had a larger portion of my workday was used planning. And so I was able to create really awesome experiences for my students. Group work, of course, you can, you start off all in the main room, and you can break kids just with the click of a button, break them up into groups, have slides for them in their groups to work on, and they can write on those slides and then bring all their work and bring all the kids back to the main room. So you don't have those weird transitions. But I should also mention something that I've seen in chat is for K12 schools, typically your classes are scheduled by the school. So they're not pre-recorded except in some unforeseen circumstance. Like if you're sick, typically you can have a pre-recorded class instead of like finding a sub or something. But you're on a schedule. So I had class every day at 10 a.m. I'd go for a run after class, and then which I did not have the luxury of doing in public school. So I'd go for a run, and then I'd get back to talking to students when I came back from my run, and then I'd have open office hours for tutoring from 1 to 2 to 2:30. I had small group, and so those were pre-planned small groups. These kids were invited, and it was mandatory that they came to small group to maybe brush up on skills that I saw that they needed for the STAR test. And then I usually had a meeting somewhere between 2:30 and 3:30, like an IEP or something like that. And then I would prep for the next day between 3 and 5. Drea, did you have another slide on there that I'm forgetting that was like from students or anything, so that they saw student experiences or student interaction?
I can pull that up one second.
I wasn't sure if it's there, but I also have it on mine. Something I hear from teachers in these types of webinars often is that they're just afraid that you don't have the same student interaction in the online setting. And I would say that it's actually enhanced. Your relationships with your students is enhanced. And I feel as though people here who are teachers for K12 would say the same thing, that the students' affective filter, their stresses, their anxieties about school, that's gone for a large number of students. And they kind of come out of their shells online. And they also come out of their shells with you. They're less afraid of their teacher. And so they're much more productive, and it's easier for them to make friends. And if they're making friends too well and they're very gregarious in class, you can mute them, which is something you're not able to do in a regular classroom. So classrooms with a mute button are a beautiful thing. Oh yeah, so Drea's just pulled up this presentation that I had made. It was actually last year that I had made it. But yeah, at the bottom of it is a, there it is, yeah, that's one. I mean, my students had gone on, this is a list of reasons to be an online teacher. So things like no bus duty, no commute, teacher clothes budget, you just need a few nice shirts. No early morning meetings, and the noise headaches. Every teacher has a bottle of Motrin, I wasn't going to say something else, a bottle of Motrin in her desk, and that's just not necessary. There's no noise headache anymore. The decibels are low, unless you're listening to heavy metal while you grade papers or something. We have gym memberships, discounts on gym memberships, and as well as childcare, and our tuition reimbursement is really quite special. Something else I should speak to that you have on here is the ease of grading and turnitin.com. So K12 uses essentially it's K12's curriculum. And so with K12's curriculum, the students are going through the curriculum. You as the teacher set the pace for that curriculum. And when they turn it in through turnitin.com. And so you really don't have to wonder, is this too good to be true? And then you have to go on a Google rampage. It tells you, turnitin.com tells you, oh, this is 90% from this other source. Or no, they wrote this all because they're a baby genius, and you can be, it kind of lets you grade it without that pressure of, oh, I really think I've read this before. No, you haven't. It's okay. Like, just grade it as normal. So those are some really great things that I was excited to see. Melissa's asking if you can do your own. I created projects and inserted them in our K12 curriculum with our head of school's permission. And the slides, I made my own, and that's something the teachers make their own live lessons. So that's what I'm spending my time on when I say prep, is I see what the kids are planned to be going through that following week. And I see like, oh, I think they might have trouble with this. And I crafted live lessons to hit those main points, to check for understanding, and to touch on things that I thought they might have trouble with when they're going through the curriculum that week. And then this slide shows just really how great our students are at K12. Like, I didn't get these sort of things in brick and mortar. I don't know, maybe I was an evil witch in brick and mortar. I don't know, but I felt like they had more of a barrier than they did in online school. So my kids all got together on Twitch, I think it was, or Slack, while playing like Call of Duty or something one night, and they all decided they were going to like go into our discussion boards, and they made these handmade like notes to me that were just so amazing, and they posted them in our discussion boards at night, so that when I came in there in the morning, there were all these handwritten notes to Mrs. Lohmiller, that just really made my day. And so they had also done this as well, just these long, super friendly notes. And I'm showing this to show you that I do create a connection with these kids, because their filter is down and they open up. They open up with each other. They become very vulnerable with each other, and they become very vulnerable with you, and they want to do well for you. So it was very special. So I'm just seeing if there's anything else that you wanted me to touch on that was there, and I'll check in chat here, see. Yeah,
I was just trying to jump out of it. Sorry for going
that's
back.
okay.
Oh, but
that's fun, whatever is happening down there at the bottom of the screen.
Right. I think I hit subtitles by accident. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So I was asking Susan to talk about the teaching piece before we went into our just questions and answers. So, because I knew that would be something that we would probably get questions about. But so thank you for sharing that, and also sharing your experience teaching, because I think that also helps if someone who's been in brick and mortar and they're thinking about jumping into the virtual world of teaching. And I know right now that we're all working from home. Some may not be working from home, but if we can, just show you just some insight of what that looks like, I wanted to make sure we did that. But we are at, it's 4:35, so I wanted to make sure we had a good amount of time to be able to, ask questions and answer those for you. So right now, let me just look at our chat, because I'll also pull out questions that maybe. So if you have questions, you can either write them in the chat box, or if you want to say something over the microphone, you can unmute and just ask a question there. Now I do
speak
go ahead.
to Carol's on about the principal, because as a supervisor, that's something I've talked to some of my principals about, like how their day compares to a regular principal or even a teacher, because I'm sure there's some people here who are looking to be admins in the schools, and that you're still evaluating going in and out of each teacher's electronic classroom, because the teacher's classes are live and scheduled. You can go in and see what she or he is doing live in their class, and your name is in there, and it's like Mr. Morton admin, and your name appears in there. And so it's like you're sitting there in the back of the class like you would in a regular brick and mortar school, and you can participate, and then you can leave the class and go into another teacher's class. But something to keep in mind for our admin is you're not dealing with lunches or buses or physical altercations. And so that's something that my principals mention for me all the time. You're not dealing with all of those responsibilities that come with a brick and mortar school, the actual building. It's really about the teachers. And of course, you still have boards and everything, board meetings and all that. Yep, budgets and board meetings. There are those because we have boards, but the physical building and things like lunches and buses, physical altercations are out of the equation. So I'll stop talking and let people go for their other questions here.
I did see someone write in the chat box, they asked about total students. How many total students does a teacher typically have? How many total classes or preps in a week?
And that can vary.
Yeah.
Like,
if you want to share on that.
I had one prep, but my class was extremely massive, which was fine. I broke it out over 5 days and saw those kids once a week, broken out into 5. But for instance, some of my schools in Michigan, a teacher might have just 25 kids in a class and have 4 classes, 4 preps. So I think I think that really does vary by school, and as well as by subject. I was high school English.
Now I see someone asked about cyber.
Most kids are running away from bullying when they come to K12. It was almost like a place of peace. You know, they created their new life in this online school and really guarded it.
Yeah, they were asking, are there any issues with cyberbullying? Or, I believe I'm saying that question correctly. Did you have any issues of that while you were teaching, or did that go down? I know you said that a lot of people came because of it.
They talked so much about what a relief it was. Like they would, because you come into class early and they all just chat, and then you shut down the chat when class starts. But they would talk so much about how they've come to this school because of the bullying in their regular brick and mortar school. And it seemed, I can't say that there isn't any. In my experience, they created a safe place in their online school. It was a place to get away from cyberbullying. And like I said, they were very vulnerable with each other. But of course, we're a large institution. We have over 30 schools, and or we're in over 30 states, and we have over 60 schools, I believe. And so something could happen in a class, I'm sure. But in my experience, it did not. And the kids went out of their way to protect that.
Let's see what other questions. Thank you all for typing in the chat. Okay, I see, is every class have to be taught in the state that a teacher is located? An example, if you teach in Alabama but live in Arizona, can that happen? For teachers, you would be teaching in the state that you are located in. So, and that's why we stress to make sure that you have your certification in that state. And also, the reason we request that you are teaching in the state that you're in, we also will have professional development. So to be able to travel to the professional development that they have. And Susan, how often would professional development be for those?
At Tops, it was 3 times a year. Actually, it was twice a year at Tops, but I believe most schools are 2 to 3 times a year, like before school, Christmas, and then at the end of the year. And they either meet at their main offices in the school pays for travel, or they meet at like a resort if their main offices can't accommodate all their teachers.
Okay. All right, just looking some more through the chat box. I did see someone ask about the careers page. Now I can pull that up while we're talking. Let's just have that up. Let me go back. Go. Someone was asking that came in later. I went on our website, which is again k12.com/careers. And again, this is our careers page where we will spotlight different events. We'll also talk about different positions that we have available. That's in this section. If you scroll down, if you want to learn more about our K12 values, you can click here. We have different employees that we've spotlighted in our pact. I know someone asked about, let me just go through so if you have questions about a school position or looking at school positions, make sure you click on the school staff side and then our corporate side if you're interested in corporate positions. We have featured opportunities on the right side, as well as there's a box here. This is discover your potential. If you click on each box, like my education level, you can write in what your education level is in that box, your ideal job, and you can also put in you have professional license or certification, and then from there it will kind of help you build a presence, and then it will show you different jobs that you may be a good fit for. So I will keep that up, but let's go back to some questions. Mikhail, do you want to talk about some of the jobs that you hire for?
Sure. Well, I'm on the academic side, so I hire teachers and some of the student attendance specialists, family engagement, a lot of the ones that help with the school, office administrators. So it really just depends because I hire different subject matters or even positions for each school. But you can definitely, work around in a school. Some people may start off as an admin and work themselves into a student attendance specialist, or vice versa. So coming into the company is definitely a good thing because we do try to promote within. And it's also a way for you to see different areas within that school. I do keep mentioning learning solutions. And the reason why I'm really big on that is because we are hiring all year. Summer, we go all year and we always have positions open. And a lot of the questions are, do you have to be certified to teach it? Yes, you do have to be certified, but you do not have to live in that state. And that's a great benefit. Another thing is that if you do want to just see how the virtual world is, and let's say you don't want to quit your brick and mortar, there are part-time positions that's in the evening hours. So if you want to just come over, try to see how it is, you can possibly get a position within Learning Solutions, or you may see it online as Fuel Education. So keep that in mind too. It'll say Fuel Education or Learning Solutions. And then let's say you like it. You're with us for a year. You really like it. You really want to switch over to one of our managed schools, full-time teaching. It does give you the foot forward to be able to transfer into one of those positions because you would be I can't get my words right. You will be recommended for those positions. So although they won't have the same managers per se, it's easy for me to say, hey, I have a teacher that teaches for us part-time. She's great. She wants to move over to your school. And you can go into that interview process. So there's different areas that you can try, within the school. It does not have to be teacher related. Anything that it takes to run a brick and mortar school is going to take to run a virtual school. Psychologists, coordinators, counselors, don't forget about any of those positions. So again, anything that it takes to run a brick and mortar is going to take to run a virtual school. So definitely go online, look at the school staff, and look at the corporate, because you don't know what's out there in either posting that really fits you.
Thanks, Mikhail. I had someone just ask, what is the other name than Learning Solutions to look for on postings that refer to same type positions?
Yes, the Fuel Education. So it'll say Fuel Education or Learning Solutions. We're going out of a name switch, so that's the reason why it's 2 right now.
Oh, okay.
Or
Now, someone asked, are student support advisors and school counselors the same position?
They are not. So
Okay.
the student support advisors are, they can sometimes go out into the field. So let's say you're in a large area such as Philadelphia, they will go out into the field, go to certain events. They're there to support the students, there to support the parents, whereas the school counselors are there they have to have their counseling certification, and they are there to counsel the students. The student support advisors do not have to have a specific certification.
Okay. And let's see, another question that came in. We do offer part-time jobs. Okay, do you offer part-time jobs to see how everything works and then move into a full-time position? It's either one will ask. Don't mind my dog in the background.
For our brick and mortar position, I'm sorry, not for our brick and mortar, for our full-time school positions, there aren't too many part-time positions. When we hire for those, they're generally full-time. I want to say it's never going to be part-time. There are some that comes up, but for the most part, they are full-time. Most of our part-time positions are for the Learning Solutions. I see what asked about the paraprofessional. I have to ask my other colleagues to answer that, because I never have any paraprofessional positions, and I'm not sure if we hire paraprofessionals, but I'm going to ask somebody else to jump in.
I've had some paraprofessionals, and they've had to live in the same state, and I've had some that are, I've had to hire 2 that are physical paraprofessionals to help kids with their medical needs while they're attending online school, and so they had to be able to go to the student's house every day. So at the minimum, they need to live in the same state, and then for those, of course, they need to live locally to the student.
Okay, let's look. Let's see, other questions. And also thank you to our other recruiters that are in our chat box right now answering questions. Thank you to Courtney, and I see Robin, I see Gary, I see Sean. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Some of these in chat are pretty good questions, like how many classes is a full-time position? Like I said, I had 1 class, but it was massive, and it took me all day to deal with it. And so it's not classes a day that determines full-time. So you might have 4 classes of 25 students. I had 1 class of anywhere from 245 to 800 students, which happened after Hurricane Harvey. But you know, I worked with it, and my school worked with me. So that I wasn't too stressed out. So you don't really know. If you're hired as full-time, you're full-time. And if you have 1 class and you're hired as full-time, you are a full-time teacher with that 1 class. There was another one about staff interaction at schools. And I mean, the staff makes best friends over Skype, and we're in staff meetings with each other live like this, where we're all on camera. As teachers, we were all live on camera, and you don't need to poke your head in each other's classroom. You have your afternoon meeting, and you get all on the same page, and you're talking on Skype all day. So if I was having trouble with like my online class, I could go into my Skype and talk to my teacher friends and say, oh my gosh, my class isn't loading. Did you guys have this problem? And they say, oh yeah, just like close it down and reload it. That happened to me this morning. And then we talk about our kids after class. So you still have those relationships that you have in a brick and mortar school. And then you see each other at physical PD, and we also have field trips as well for students local to our area. But I also had a teacher that lived in the same neighborhood as me for K12, and we just go work at a coffee shop sometimes. So that you still have those relationships. I'm sorry, I keep looking up. I have two screens, and I keep looking up here at chat on my other screen.
Oh, no, you're fine. I saw one that I was just gonna answer out so we could talk about it. I had someone asked about if they are in the process of getting their license, and I think I lost it.
I think that they should still apply and just make it very clear in their application that their license is coming in 2 months, that they've taken the test and they're just waiting for it to come in the mail. So I would say still apply and just make it clear to us that your license is on its way.
Okay. Let's see, we still have a few more minutes. Let me just go through. I also, before I forget, I know we are offering some information for folks due to, COVID-19. I know we're all working from home, but I know that we do offer some resources on our website. So I also wanted to pull that up while we answered any last questions. And then that can give you just an idea what resources we have. So let me find that. Mikhail or Susan, if you wanted to share any other advice or tips or whatnot to everyone before we close out, I'll find that information.
Maybe just to say that one of the great things about K12 is the diversity of opportunities that we have here. So like I just said in chat, someone asked about going between school and corporate, and usually if you're working at a school, you can go up just through academia. But for instance, my background is in pharma sales and academia, and I've toggled since I graduated from college between academia and sales, and K12 allowed me to do that. And I appreciate it. If I was in a brick and mortar school, there would be no place for me to go to use those skills. If I wanted to, you could just go up through admin. But in K12, you have really a whole breadth of possibilities open to you, and our teachers are highly valued individuals here. And when you apply to things outside of the teaching field, your resume is considered. So, and I definitely appreciate K12 for considering my resume when I applied outside of the teaching field. So, and they allowed me to go into recruiting. So there are a lot of opportunities for people.
All right, I'm going to just share really quickly our page where we have our free learning programs that we're offering, again, due to COVID-19 and everyone's schools are out or whatnot. So I just want to share the screen really quick, as well as I'll also put the link in our chat box as well. So we have a message that you can read from our CEO listed here, and then it lists the different learning programs that we are offering. And where you can find this on our website is k12.com/coronavirus.html, and I'll write that in there right now. Or someone already did it. Thanks, Sean. So this shows, I just want to make sure you're aware, but these are the different programs that we are offering. Big Universe, it talks about our summer programs with our Destinations Career Academy, Stride, which is a digital game based learning, which is coming soon. Actually, it's not, you can look at it, but I don't think they have the available just yet. And then we talked about fuel ed education. This is that you'll have be able to try for free for 30 days. But just to make you aware, these are just the different resources that we have. FAQs, there's helpful tips. I know there are also other webinars that will be going on tomorrow that they're offering that you can take a look at, but I just wanted to make mention of this page that you can refer back to. Just if you're looking for some free programs or some things that you want to involve your children in while we are all at home. So let me take a look at the chat box. Any other questions? I do someone asked about, oh, go ahead.
Can you address the recording? Someone said that last time they had a problem, whenever they clicked it, it said that they didn't have rights to it, and then people just want to know if the recording will be sent out.
Yes, this has been recorded, and once I get the link, then I will send it out to the participants. If you've signed up through Eventbrite or whatnot, I'll be able to send that out to all of the people that are listed, and you can go back and refer. Now, did they say they had an issue looking at the recording that they had previously?
She said, let me go back and try to find it. It was like she clicked on the link and it wouldn't give her rights to look at it.
Okay. I will test, I'll make sure to test that out, but you can send, what is her, if you can send me your email, and then I can also make sure you get that as well. But yes, this has been recorded, so we'll be sending that out. So you can also forward it to other friends that you may have known that were interested but weren't able to join today. And let's see. Is there a video we can watch to see how a day in the life of a teacher looks like? Actually, we do. Thank you, Mina. It's on our website, actually our K12 careers page. I'll go back to it really quick. K12 /careers. And once you scroll to the bottom, there's a video on what does it mean to work in K12, and then there's also, should be under success story.
It was just there, Drea. Like, I just took it off that page and posted it to my LinkedIn like just a couple days ago. The day in the life of a K12 teacher.
Let me go back. Okay, so it was there. My apologies. Let me go back to our courage.
But all of the videos are good.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's videos on
we try
YouTube
to
as well.
give different positions that talk about what they do or whatnot. But yes, we do have a video up there, and I think they may have moved it. But also, really quickly, under what does it mean to work for K12, we also have a spot where we talk about our benefits. So, and there's a blurb about that under there as well on K12 careers. And then if you want to do an introduce yourself, you can also fill out this information here. But that is where you can, I'm sorry, I just found it. So it's under discover more. If you see right here, discover more, it says a day in the life. Once you click on that, then it will pull up a day in the life of online students. And then there's also, there is one under, let me go back. There should be one as well on a teacher, but they may have moved it. Might not. I will keep looking, and I will, once I find that, they list it. If you want to list your email address, when I find that information, I can send you an email of where that is. So It's already an hour. Man, time flies when you're having fun. So I want to thank everybody for coming today. I know it was a lot of information we covered, but we were able to, answer some questions. I hope that you all got a lot of information. Again, this has been recorded. We're going to send this out. We'll probably do this again as well, because again, it's so much information that there's so many other things that we could talk about. Even going over the presentation, I was like, oh, we should talk about this, we should talk about this. But stay connected to us. Let me go to our PowerPoint. Again, I'll just put it in the chat. Follow us at K12 Careers to stay connected. Again, we do events we do a webinar once a month for our K12 Careers. But again, thank you to Susan, thank you, Mikhail, thank you to everyone that's all of our other recruiters and workers in our chat box. Thanks, Gary, Sean, Keisha, Courtney, Robin. If I missed your name, thank you. Again, we'll be doing this again next month, and we'll make sure to send out the recording as soon as I get it. If you have any other questions, you can feel free to send a question to recruiting at K12 if you have questions for our recruiters, or talent team at k12.com. But again, my name is Andrea Wilson, and thank you for joining Webinar Wednesdays. We will see you next month. Bye.